Have you ever thought about how many times the name of God is used to justify human cowardice? How many wars, massacres, and complicit silences have been hidden under the cloak of faith? Leila Khaled, a symbol of resistance and political courage, summed up this moral dilemma in a sentence that unsettles both the devout and the powerful. God is the excuse of the cowards. In this sentence, there is no denial of faith, but a direct blow against the hypocrisy of those who use God's name to justify their lack of action, their submission, and their crimes. For Leila, invoking the divine has become a refuge for those who hide from moral responsibility, those who prefer to pray instead of act, and those who turn religion into a shield for their own cowardice. In the next few minutes, you will encounter the mind and strength of a woman who challenged empires, religions, and dogmas, and who used reason and courage as her true weapons. Context of Leila Khaled's life. Leila Khaled was born on April 9, 1944, in the city of Haifa, which at the time was part of Palestine, under the British Mandate. When she was only 4 years old, her family was expelled from their homeland during the Nakba in 1948, an event that marked the forced exodus of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians. She grew up in a refugee camp in Lebanon, surrounded by stories of loss, resistance, and hope. From a very young age, Leila believed that the freedom of the Palestinian people required more than speeches. She became involved in activism and later became one of the most recognized figures of the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine. Her determination transformed her into an international symbol of resistance and female strength in the face of oppression. Leila Khaled lived between exile and struggle, refusing to be defined by fear or conformity. Her path reflects the belief that true freedom is born from courageous action and the direct confrontation of injustice, even when the price is one's own peace. Major works and speeches of Leila Khaled. Leila Khaled became a powerful voice of Palestinian resistance, known for transforming pain into political strength and words into instruments of awareness. My people shall live. In her autobiography, Leila recounts her childhood in exile and the loss of her homeland. The book is a cry of resistance and hope, revealing a woman who refused servitude and chose the fight for dignity. International speeches and interviews. In her public statements, Leila defended the idea that resistance is not the propagation of violence, but the affirmation of dignity and justice. She criticized the use of religion and political morality as instruments of oppression, always in the name of human liberation. These words and testimonies established Leila Khaled as a symbol of courage and a voice for a people who refuse to live on their knees. Key points for reflection. Faith as a refuge for inertia. Leila Khaled denounced the way many people turn God into a justification for their own passivity. Throughout history, multitudes have accepted injustice believing it was God's will. During slavery, for example, Christian preachers taught that Black people should submit to their masters, citing the Bible as moral authority. This blind faith anesthetized indignation and transformed suffering into virtue. Religion, when used this way, does not console. It lulls the conscience to sleep. The cowardice of neutrality. Disguised as piety, neutrality can be a form of cowardice dressed in the cloak of faith. How many priests and pastors remained silent before authoritarian regimes, justifying their omission with the idea that God will judge? During Latin American dictatorships, many religious leaders turned a blind eye to torture and censorship, claiming that politics is not the church's place. This type of faith does not protect the innocent, it protects the guilty. It is the sanctification of fear disguised as devotion. Religion as a shield for power. Throughout the centuries, rulers have turned to religion to mask their cowardice before the truth. European kings declared themselves anointed by God to legitimize the oppression of the people. Modern politicians still use biblical verses in campaigns to win votes, invoking God while enriching themselves at the expense of misery. In this scenario, religion becomes a moral shield that absolves crimes and justifies mass submission. The fear of confronting power is covered with a veneer of faith. Forgiveness as an accomplice to injustice. The idea of always forgive is often an instrument for perpetuating injustice. How many criminals have been socially absolved because God has forgiven them? This distortion of forgiveness turns religion into a refuge for cowards who avoid confrontation. In communities, religious forgiveness is used to silence victims of abuse, violence, and exploitation. Leila saw in this a moral cowardice. Forgiveness without justice is merely complicity disguised as virtue. Using God as an alibi for violence. Sanctified violence, crusades, attacks, and colonizations have been committed in the name of God. Each army believed it was fighting for the divine will while massacring innocents. Leila Khaled's phrase dismantles this hypocrisy. Cowards who refuse to take responsibility for their actions use God as an alibi. When a man kills in the name of God, he is not a believer. He is a coward who fears admitting his own evil. In this context, faith is merely the disguise of guilt, the comfort of destiny, as the lace of cowardice. Destiny is the favorite hiding place of those who fear acting. In the face of misery, oppression, and inequality, many prefer to say it was God's will, rather than acknowledge their own omission. This religious conformism keeps the system intact, feeding political and spiritual elites. By turning resignation into virtue, institutionalized faith guarantees the stability of injustice. The fear of challenging destiny is the most silent form of cowardice. Religious submission as a mechanism of control. From pulpits to palaces, religion has been used to shape consciences and prevent uprisings. Women were taught to accept submission to men as God commands. Workers were told to be grateful for their suffering, because paradise would be their reward. This doctrine of absolute obedience manufactures obedient cowards, not conscious believers. In this context, belief does not liberate, it domesticates. Courage as the true form of faith. Leila Khaled saw courage not as the opposite of faith, but as its purest form. True spirituality does not take refuge in fear, nor does it seek excuses in God. It confronts injustice, even without promises of reward. It was this courage that moved women to challenge empires, workers to rise against tyrants, and scientists to defy religious dogmas. The act of believing is only worthy when it walks side by side with reason and moral responsibility. Analysis of the phrase, God is the excuse of the cowards. Leila Khaled's statement is a direct denunciation of the manipulation of faith and moral cowardice disguised as devotion. She does not speak against the divine, but against the way the divine is instrumentalized to justify inertia, fear, and conformity. At its core, the phrase is a call for moral honesty, not to use God as a shield for one's weakness, but as strength for action. Leila exposes the cowardly faith that prefers to pray in the face of injustice rather than confront it. The faith that protects the powerful and silences the oppressed. The faith that, instead of liberating, imprisons. Her critique demands coherence between belief and courage. Point of view. Leila Khaled's provocation is one of the harshest of the modern era. It unmasks the faith that kneels before injustice and reveals the cost of collective cowardice. Do we still use God to justify our fear of acting? Has forgiveness become an excuse not to demand justice? Does religion remain a shelter for cowards who avoid confrontation? Does destiny merely serve to hide our omission? Is courage, rather than blind faith, the true path to human dignity? If this content awakened something in you, share it with those who need to see beyond appearances and promises of holiness. On the Absolute Wisdom channel, We do not question beliefs alone. We question the impact they have on truth, freedom, and human reason. Leave your like, comment what you think about this reflection, and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.